Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick comparison between the Microsoft Surface Pro 2 tablet on the left and the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 edition. Now, clearly a lot of you right now are probably wondering how I could even begin to compare these tablets, but I assure you I've already gotten questions. I mean, it's really all about pricing because even though I've got the 128 gig version here, which is priced at $1,000, the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 ranges from 550 to 600. You can pick up the 64 gig version of the Pro for $899. So people inherently are going to look at that 600 to 900 gap and really wonder whether or not they're throwing $600 into the garbage as opposed to going for the full-blown computing experience. So first and foremost, what I want to talk about is the operating system, the platform. You know, here we're working on the right, of course, within Android. We've got Jelly Bean, TouchWiz user interface. This is designed by Samsung to be an overlay for the Android platform, and it really is a matter of whether or not you're going to love or hate it. In my opinion, it certainly brings more positive things and a very polished user experience to the table. Some lag does come with that relationship, unfortunately, but overall I really do like the experience when compared to just about any device on the market. They customize everything. As you can see right now, I'm just going in to change my screen timeout activity to 30 minutes so it does not turn off through the course of this review because it looked like I accidentally left it off. But either way, the point is you've got all these controls at your fingertips, redesigned. Some will like that, some won't. Dual band Wi-Fi, a Exynos 5 processor in here, not a desktop class. Not that this one is, but by desktop I mean Intel i5 Haswell low voltage processor, which is a computing class processor as opposed to a mobile computing processor found in the Note 10.1 2014 edition. Do keep in mind there are actually 8 cores in total here in the Galaxy Note 10 2014, which is incredible. Unfortunately, it's more about power saving than beasting it out with all the cores. So the Exynos 5, which is an A15 architecture, of course, ARM-based mobile processor, is what powers this experience. You've got 3 gigs of RAM to complement that, which is an industry first and high, of course, and it does show in performance. There have been some complaints of lag, but in my experience, this is one of those things where it's really more about software optimization and Samsung having to work on TouchWiz because it's really easy to put an overlay on this. And as this gets ROMmed out there, we're going to hopefully see some great development for this tablet because it is a beast in just about every department. But moving along, GPS, Wi-Fi I mentioned is dual band, some great AC connectivity here. That's not something you're going to get in the Surface Pro 2, unfortunately, but that's not necessarily a real tangible thing for most users out there in web browsing and traditional tasks, so I won't take too many points away from Microsoft's latest and greatest. Screen resolution here, we have a slightly smaller screen, 10.1 in the Note 10.1, of course, as opposed to 10.6 in the Surface Pro 2, but a drastic resolution difference. 1080p on the left, 2600 by 1600 on the right. So a big difference there. And right now, as far as tablet resolutions go, this is top of the class. Samsung set the standard with the Nexus 10, and that follows suit here. A better screen, in my opinion, than what we had in the Nexus 10. So really, this does end up being the best screen, in my opinion, on the market. Better than the iPad, better than anyone, and that includes the brand new, just announced iPad Air, which still does not have the pixel density of this tablet. Color accuracy also here is just phenomenal. That's one area where right now I can tell you in this comparison, the screen here on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 2014 is far superior to that on the Surface Pro 2. And that's not to say that the Surface Pro 2 has a bad screen, it just isn't up to snuff with this one. Now, again, this isn't a computer, but it has really powerful mobile computing specifications, which render you a tablet that really does blur the line between traditional tablets and what we expect from Android versus what we expect from a computer. Clearly, you can't run desktop applications from Windows here, but on Surface Pro 2 you can, a big advantage. But Android does afford a wide variety of applications now that will allow you to bridge the gap in areas that something and an iPad cannot simply do. Multitasking, Samsung with InTouchWiz does have their multi-window view where you can open up things simultaneously, whether a file browser, S-Finder, S-Note, and you can pretty much go to town and open up as many of these as you could possibly want to, which is a great feature. I'll show you right now. Open up the internet browser. You can see I've got a stack going here. And basically, you can just beast it out and have so many things running, and this thing will not miss a beat. I assure you of that. Side by side, I've already demoed that. Very easy to do. Just everything works as it should. The S Pen integration, really solid. Of course, there is a place right here on the top right side to stow the S Pen. The S Pen has a button which, if pressed, also when you actually take it out, it immediately recognizes that the S Pen has been removed. You can see, I'm going to bring up the brightness to full brightness here because the Surface Pro 2 is at full brightness, and when I do a web browsing comparison, I want you guys to see side by side exactly what the experiences are like firsthand. But right there in the upper left corner, you can see the pen indicator. That's that the pen has been removed. And if I go ahead and hit the button, I've already demoed this. Air Command comes up, which gives you quick access to the pen window feature, which basically allows you to draw a box anywhere on screen and then open up an application in that area. That's another way to multitask to your heart's content. It is limited in terms of the applications, but those limitations aren't real. With the multi-window, you can use any application on your tablet. So really, this does multitask in a way that no other Android tablet, or any tablet for that matter, does. I would say Surface 2 can multitask in that fashion, but it doesn't have the applications in order to multitask the way that an Android tablet like this can. S-Finder also there to look through all of your content. Screen Write does exactly what it sounds like. It's going to allow you to write on the screen you presently are on, save it, share it, and then Scrapbooker, pull information from whatever you're looking at using the pen to literally scrapbook using your pen as your scrapbooking tool. And then lastly, the Action Memo, which is just the new version of the S-Note Memo. Some new enhancements there. Not going to walk you through a tutorial, but in my opinion, the actual digitizer here from Wacom is superior, I think, to what we have with Surface Pro 2. And that's not because the digitizer itself is inferior. It's simply because Microsoft hasn't taken the time to optimize the way Samsung and write software the way Samsung has for the Note 10.1 2014 edition. So that's really the key difference, in my opinion, between the two when it comes to pen integration. Overall, you can certainly make the argument that a pen with a true computer is going to be more useful for professionals doing photo editing, graphic design, because they can go much farther with actual software than they can with the limitations of Android. So I'm not neglecting that argument or that viewpoint in any form or fashion, but for the average consumer, I do believe from a note-taking standpoint, the fact that you get a full, array of capabilities out of the box with the S-Note that are just not part of the marketing of Surface Pro 2 is a matter of fact. Clearly, I do think the more competent and powerful machine, without any question or hesitation, is the Surface Pro 2 because it is a real computer. Even though it's a low voltage Haswell, it's an incredible beast. So this one does have 4 gigs of RAM. That's another reason I'm comparing these two. Even though, again, they're not in the same class. I'll reiterate that a million times because I don't want to hear about it in the comments section, frankly. But 3 gigs of RAM versus 4 gigs of RAM, the Haswell and Tegra 4 processors are not comparable. They don't work with under the same regime, so I'm not going to try that. comparison. But the screens I've already told you about. Battery life, 6 to 8 here, closer to 8 to 10 on the right. But that's to be expected. It's a mobile platform. The Tegra 4 isn't as power hungry as even the more efficient 4th gen Haswell CPU that drives this experience. Now, in terms of graphics, I mentioned the Tegra 4 is really solid. You do get the HD 4400 solution here in the updated Surface Pro 2 as opposed to the 4000 that was in last year's edition. It is a competent upgrade, but it's not going to take you to the next level of gaming, so keep that in mind. Now, in terms of web browsing, that's something I mentioned I wanted to demonstrate, and I'm going to. Let me just close out some tabs here. And of course, this is not an apples to apples test. I'm running Samsung's WebKit browser next to Internet Explorer designed for the tablet, the Metro UI experience on Surface, even though this is, again, the Pro version. So also keep in mind, weight class not comparable. This is a little over a pound. This is 2 pounds even. So this can be used as a tablet without too much handheld fatigue. This, on the other hand, really does rely on the kickstand. This doesn't have a kickstand. That's a disadvantage, but you can argue the weight difference makes up for it. With that said, let's get down to doing a little bit of web browsing, and you'll see speed comparison as well. You can see the Pro immediately loading up, and it should. I mean, this is a $1,000 piece of hardware next to a $550 tablet. Do keep in mind that it does take more computing or processing power or graphics capability to drive the higher resolution, even though I'm in a mobile version, of course, as I say that, of this tablet. The higher res display does take quite a bit of a toll, both on battery life as well as the actual CPU-GPU combo. So I'm not trying to make any excuses for this. This is a mobile tablet, so keep that in mind. This is a computer, but I just want to point that out. In terms of pinch to zoom responsiveness, you can see they are both exactly where they should be, top of the class. And that's not something that you'd expect anything less than from either of these manufacturers. Now, when it comes to actual color accuracy, again, I do favor the colors from the Samsung panel, but you be the judge. The video is certainly going to render a different experience than what I have been experiencing firsthand using them. And of course, I recommend you go to a store, visit it, see them in person. These are both at stores like Best Buy and other brick and mortar stores that carry both of these tablets, or I should say, in this case, computer hybrid Ultrabook Wonder. So really, the Samsung blurs the line. The Surface Pro 2 is the line, is my best way of putting it. But the Samsung really compelling with the S Pen. Of course, both have their input here. No flash natively. Of course, we do have flash here. This is a computer. Another reason that if you're wondering, does it really matter, which you have to have when it comes to something like flash? Well, if you need it, then you should be looking at the Pro version or even the Surface 2, because that has a flash browser on board as well. But what I can tell you is that when it comes to the price point difference, it really comes down to, do you need the computer? The applications you can run here, I know a lot of students as well as professionals that can get away with what this tablet brings to the table, meaning the Note 10.1. But if you actually need Office as well as a whole host of different desktop-based Windows-driven applications, then clearly you shouldn't even be looking at something like an Android tablet, because Microsoft has finally accommodated those of you who really do require Windows in the form of a tablet. So pricing may be close, but at the end of the day, the actual functionality, as even referenced right here just by Flash being vacant, and yes, you can sideload and get Flash to work on Android, that's not the point. This is the difference between having an Android tablet and a full-fledged computer. So form factor may be similar, weight really isn't, as we know, but screen size is, screen resolution is even close. They both have the pen. Both have physical buttons on the screen. Here we've got a Windows button. Here we have a home button, back, and menu. But at the end of the day, even though they look so much alike, they even have both have front and rear cameras. Of course, the cameras are better here on the Samsung. Really, again, it comes down to if you need a computer, you should be getting one. It's the best advice I can give in this situation. And quite frankly, if you find the Surface Pro 2 to be too expensive, then I recommend something like the Yoga 2. That's certainly a more affordable solution for a full-fledged laptop Ultrabook replacement. Yes, it's not a tablet, but there's no question the Note 10.1 is a true tablet, whereas the Surface Pro 2 is an effort to be the best of both worlds. And it does a really good job at representing that. Everything performs as it should. Battery life and a substantial improvement from the last generation, but it still isn't going to be able to compete with the average media consumption device that we come to shop for every year, that we see updated in that $500 to $600 price point from Samsung, Apple, and every other manufacturer that's about to bring tablets to the market, whether it's HTC, LG, because the tablet market is clearly where the action is right now. And that's part of the reason that Microsoft's first computers came in the form of tablets. So really, folks, it comes down to, as I've mentioned over and over again, do you need the PC? If you do, Surface Pro 2 represents the best thing or best tablet offering that is a full-fledged computer. However, if you know that you can get away with everything that's offered by the Galaxy Note 10.1, I think it's definitely the less expensive and more optimal choice. Of course, again, because you can pick up the 64 gig version of the Pro 2, that gap in price narrows even more. So things like the built-in infrared remote control features, I'm not even mentioning those things, because if you need a computer, you don't care about an infrared remote control. But for the student looking for the S Pen applications, they're definitely more full-fledged. And again, that app library that you have in Android is going to be far more useful to a student than necessarily a pro, who relies on Office. So if you need Office, you need a computer, this is what you should be buying. Yes, Evernote is great on here, but that's what it comes down to. And of course, the argument can be made that the full-blown Internet Explorer on desktop here with Flash really can replace any app, but the reality is the whole convenience of applications is the fact that it's one touch to get to your information. But overall, of course, these are both really great products. The last thing I'll close on is build quality, because that's where they are not similar in any way. Even though they're close in price, even though they both have styluses, high-res screens, and are really strong performers, the Microsoft Surface line of tablets, they are built like rocks. I mean, they have their own patented actual build material, which is almost a form of aluminum, really solid. I mean, you get that kickstand. There's no question. The pogo ports, this is in another league. I give Samsung credit for upgrading their build quality from their complete plastic design that they got a lot of flack for in the past. The faux leather back, much less of a fingerprint magnet. Not in love with the stitch here. I could have lived without it. The silver finish on the side, nothing wrong with it, but overall, it's a really nice tablet. But there's no question, build quality, hands down, goes to Microsoft on this, and it should. This is not a plastic tablet. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it answered a lot of questions regarding this comparison. I know it's a strange one, but still one that does happen. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.